Floating on cloud nine, basking in the euphoria of marrying the love of my life, I never anticipated the storm brewing on the horizon. The tempest arrived in a deceptively innocent package addressed to my mother-in-law. Curiosity piqued, I eagerly tore it open, only to be confronted with a revelation that would shatter the tranquility of our newlywed bliss. In an instant, the harmony between my husband and me unraveled into a nightmare, orchestrated by forces I had never imagined. But I refused to be ensnared in her web of manipulation. My name is Jessica, and just 6 months ago, I joyously wed my husband, David. Our future shimmered with promise, a canvas awaiting the brushstrokes of cherished memories. Yet fate had other plans, unveiling its cruel twist a mere month after our nuptials. As I tended to our home, embracing my role as a dedicated homemaker, the doorbell's chime shattered the tranquility. A parcel, a harbinger of chaos, bore the name of its sender, my mother-in-law. A parcel from my mother-in-law? Intriguing. There had been no prior mention of any such delivery, and David seemed equally unaware. Piqued by curiosity, I untied the knots, securing the box. Within, an unexpected assortment greeted me, clothing, not the stylish ensembles one might anticipate, but rather a collection bearing the unmistakable signs of age and wear. "What is this?" I stammered, bewildered by the sight before me. "Old clothes," came the curt response. I was dumbfounded by the array of garments, some marred by telltale signs of use, others adorned with holes and frays. Among them, relics of bygone fashion eras lingered, now reduced to gaudy remnants of their former glory. As I grappled with this peculiar offering, the shrill ring of the phone pierced the air, a timely interruption from none other than my mother-in-law. "Oh, Jessica dear, did you get my gift?" "No, no, no, no. How can you call that a gift? They're clearly old clothes, and they're hideous. Who could possibly consider this a gift?" As I stood there, bewildered by the unexpected situation, my mother-in-law began to explain casually. "You see, those clothes are ones I used to wear a long time ago. I found them while tidying up my closet." But mother-in-law, some of them have holes in them." "Don't worry, dear. I included some new ones I bought recently. Please try them on." Despite my confusion, my mother-in-law chattered away cheerfully. Was this harassment, or was it genuine kindness? Honestly, I couldn't decipher her true intentions. When my husband David came home from work, he immediately noticed the mountain of old clothes. "Did Mom give you a gift?" "That's nice." It felt more like she was offloading them rather than gifting them. Even so, if my mother-in-law's intentions were kind, I didn't want to seem ungrateful. So I did mention the holes or the poor taste to David. A month later, another package arrived from her. As expected, it was filled entirely with second-hand clothes. This time, the amount was overwhelming, and the designs were even worse than before. "Oh, who would wear these?" I exclaimed in disbelief. I felt bad for my mother-in-law, but this was nothing short of an unwelcome favor. The clothes were just crowding my closet. I should give them away or sell them at a flea market. As I was thinking this, the phone rang. It was my mother-in-law again. "Oh, Jessica, did the clothes arrive?" I gathered some really special pieces this time. Her cheerfulness was almost overbearing. Even so, it would be problematic if she kept sending them regularly. "They're old and not really my style, mother-in-law. I appreciate the gesture, but I don't usually wear such flashy clothes." When I gently declined, her tone suddenly changed, and she became angry. "Excuse me, Jessica. What do you mean by criticizing the clothes I went out of my way to send you? The correct response is thank you. No, actually just wear them, Jessica. Sending you all those clothes will surely save you some money, won't it? The next time you come over, make sure you're wearing what I've given you, okay?" With that, my mother-in-law issued her one-sided command and abruptly hung up the phone. I sighed, realizing I'd made her angry. I had never known her to be so forceful with her opinions. That night, I decided to gather my courage and talk to my husband about it. "David, do you have a minute?" "Wait, you got more presents from my mom." "Well, that's what I wanted to talk about." David still thought I was receiving gifts I'd enjoy. When I explained the situation, his eyes widened in surprise. "Second-hand clothes?" "Yes, second-hand clothes, and they're not my style at all. I can't possibly wear them." I told him about my attempt to gently refuse over the phone and how it had upset her. "Can you talk to her, David?" David stayed silent for a while, sensing my distress over the unwanted clothes his mom had sent. I hoped he would come up with a solution to smooth things over between us. "I'll call Mom," David finally said, stepping out onto the balcony with his smartphone. I hoped he could resolve the situation, but when he returned, he said something outrageous. "Mom told me she was just trying to be nice by sending you clothes. You make it sound like it's a nuisance. You should be more grateful." I was baffled by David's words. "Hold on a minute. I told you right. I can't wear those clothes. They're not my style at all. Your mom said she used to wear them. Are you making fun of my mom's taste? That's not what I meant. Besides, some of the clothes even have holes in them. Are you saying I should wear those?" "Enough." Mom started crying when I told her you didn't like the clothes. "Please don't upset her anymore," David yelled. After yelling at me, David stormed off into his own room, slamming the door behind him. "Wait, what? Is it my fault?" I muttered, stunned. I never thought David would take his mom's side. Even if he didn't exactly support me, he could at least try to understand my feelings. I felt as if I had been betrayed by my husband. The following month, another package from my mother-in-law arrived. When I visited my in-laws' home and it was discovered that I wasn't wearing the clothes she had sent, she exploded. "I went to all this trouble to send them to you. Why aren't you wearing them?" she demanded. "Yeah, Mom went out of her way to send them to you," David joined in, siding with her against me. "No one really cares or notices what you're wearing. More importantly, it's absolutely the worst that you're wasting Mom's kindness like this," he added. It seemed David was completely on his mother's side. "Do you even understand how I feel being given tasteless old clothes, some even with holes, that are out of style?" I retorted. Everything felt absurd. All my efforts to maintain a good relationship with my mother-in-law and all my explanations to my husband seemed to be in vain, completely ignoring my feelings. David began treating me more like a housemaid than ever before. "What is this food? Are you skimping on it? You're lacking awareness as a wife. You're a full-time housewife, so you should do better. There are wrinkles in the laundry. My mother wouldn't make a mistake like this. Do it perfectly," he criticized. He was becoming incredibly picky. When I bought new clothes, he yelled, "Even though you wasted Mom's kindness, you're buying new clothes." I thought to myself, I don't know if I can continue this married life any longer. Then one day, David's company trip was confirmed. "Make sure you prepare for my company trip starting tomorrow," he instructed me. I, who have been feeling increasingly like a housemaid lately, naturally felt frustrated. However, upon reflection, this might be an opportunity for revenge. My mother-in-law continued to send me tasteless, worn-out clothes, ranging from men's to children's items, and even things I couldn't identify. Lately, she had even started sending me clothes so dirty, I questioned where she had found them. I retrieved the men's clothes from the pile and stuffed them into David's travel bag. This should do. David's company trip was scheduled for 2 nights and 3 days. During this time, I packed all the rags that had been sent from my mother-in-law into his suitcase. The next day, as soon as David departed for his trip, I began packing my belongings. Before leaving the house, I placed filled-out divorce papers on the table. Meanwhile, David, away on his company trip, found himself the subject of ridicule from his colleagues. "Hey, what's with these raggedy clothes, mate? Did you pick them up from a thrift store? Having a tiff with the missus, eh?" "Serves him right," his colleagues chuckled. That night, as expected, David called me. "Hey, what's the deal with the contents of the suitcase?" he demanded, his fury palpable even over the phone. I struggled to contain my laughter as I questioned David. "Is there an issue with your suitcase?" "What do you mean, an issue? Why are there these shabby clothes in here? Are you out of your mind, making your husband wear these? You think I'm crazy?" I replied calmly. "David, remember what you said, huh? Those clothes were sent as a gesture of goodwill by your mom. It'd be pretty odd for a son to waste such goodwill, don't you think?" Evidently, David hadn't realized the clothes I packed were from his mother. At my revelation, he stumbled over his words, caught off guard. "Hey, are you listening? Those clothes were sent by your mom. Since you were all for blaming me alongside her, you'll be wearing them without complaint, right?" I challenged. "Well, that's—" David was utterly flustered. I told him outright, "Do you understand now? Are you finally getting a feel for what I've been going through?" I left the divorce papers at home. Divorce, I'll leave the rest to you. And with that, I hung up, leaving things unsaid. David bombarded me with calls and emails, all of which I ignored. Eventually, I returned to my parents' house. A few days later, my mother-in-law called me. "You listen here. You can't get divorced without my approval. If you don't listen, I'll hire a lawyer and sue you for emotional distress," she threatened. I responded calmly, "Feel free to do so." A week later, my mother-in-law instructed me to meet at a coffee shop for a meeting with a lawyer. I arrived at the specified location to find my mother-in-law, husband, and someone who appeared to be a lawyer waiting for me. "What's this? I've already decided on the divorce, so there's nothing to discuss now," I stated firmly. My mother-in-law's expression turned hostile as she snapped, "Don't mess around. After all we've done for you, we won't allow a selfish divorce." "Exactly," my husband chimed in, echoing my mother-in-law's sentiments. "I've become a laughingstock at work because of the clothes you made me wear. Now everyone at the office is laughing at me." "A laughingstock? Isn't that essentially mocking your own mother's tastes and clothing choices?" I couldn't help but laugh in front of them. My mother-in-law glared at me, her eyes widening in anger. "What's so amusing?" "You're such a cheeky wife," she snapped, then turned to the lawyer. "Hey, Mr. Lawyer, she can't possibly request a divorce from her position, can she?" I was informed that the wife was the one causing the trouble. The lawyer questioned, looking puzzled. I made it clear, "No, it's the other way around. I've been harassed by my mother-in-law and husband, receiving clothes like garbage every single month." Upon hearing this, the lawyer appeared perplexed. "This is completely different from what I was told." My mother-in-law seemed flustered by the revelation. Growing impatient with their reactions, my husband abruptly stood up. "That's it. I'm divorcing you, you useless wife. I'll demand full emotional distress compensation," he yelled at me. His outburst caught the attention of all the customers in the coffee shop. Seizing the moment, I asked, "So, does this mean I owe emotional distress compensation?" "Wait, who exactly are you talking to?" "Who, the person behind me?" he questioned, puzzled. I kindly clarified that to my puzzled mother-in-law. Just then, a figure from the back of the room emerged before us. David and my mother-in-law were taken aback, their mouths agape with surprise. "It's been a while, Mom." David, the person who appeared, was David's brother Sam. "What, Sam? Why are you here?" David asked. "Why am I here? Well, to defend Jessica, of course," Sam replied. "That's right, Sam. David's older brother is a renowned attorney specializing in divorce," I explained. "Wait a minute, Sam. Why?" "I asked you to defend me, and you declined," my mother-in-law said, sounding perplexed. "Of course I declined." Sam's voice rang firm. "Because it's clear to me that Jessica isn't at fault. And after hearing her side of the story, I discovered that you've been using the money I've been sending home every month under the guise of hard times to torment Jessica, haven't you?" That is." My mother-in-law seemed at a loss for words. Indeed, she had been receiving money from Sam every month. While some of it went towards living expenses, she had been using the excess to purchase supper clothes to send to me, all in an effort to torment me. Sam, in a short time, had researched these facts and collected evidence. "At you, David, the verbal abuse you hurled at Jessica earlier. It's all been recorded." Sam pulled out a voice recorder and played back the harsh words David had shouted earlier. Of course, this too will serve as substantial evidence in the divorce proceedings. "Hey, Sam, you're kidding, right? Why would you side with Jessica instead of your own family?" David asked. Sam responded firmly to David's question. "I'm a lawyer. No matter how you look at it, the fault lies with you too. Your lawyer also seems to see that there's no hope of winning. Maybe he should decline to represent you." At Sam's words, David's lawyer nodded in agreement and quietly left the cafe. "So, you two will be the ones paying the alimony, and Mom, I won't be sending any more money. Understand?" With those words, Sam exited the cafe and I followed him. Thank you, Sam, for helping me even though you're busy," I said, bowing my head. Sam responded with a warm smile. "No worries. I just can't stand injustice, and Leona," he replied. "I'm really grateful for your help this time. Thank you so much." I expressed my gratitude. And thanks to Sam, I was able to divorce peacefully. Of course, I received substantial alimony from my mother-in-law and David. Since the divorce, I haven't heard from my mother-in-law or David, and I've been enjoying the peaceful life. Although parting ways with Sam, who had been so supportive during the ordeal, left me feeling a bit melancholic, I knew I needed to move on swiftly and carve out my own path. I resolved to live my life to the fullest, one that David and my mother-in-law could only dream of envying. With that promise etched in my heart,